In a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, host Joe Rogan sparked widespread debate and outrage by openly questioning the official narrative surrounding Charlie Kirk's case. Rogan expressed that there were far too many inconsistencies, contradictions, and unusual details in the story to simply accept it at face value. He explained that certain elements just didn't feel right, hinting that there might be deeper issues or hidden factors that the public has not been told. His comments quickly went viral, drawing reactions from both supporters who praised his skepticism and critics who accused him of spreading doubt without concrete evidence.
Okay, you're saying something that's actually factually inaccurate,
right,
according to the narrative. Now, let's be real clear. I don't necessarily think they know what's going on yet. There's a lot of weird going on with Whirly.
I almost texted you when the Charlie Kirk thing happened because my antennas went up about, they showed the photo of that kid, or the guy that they have, the 22-year-old,
yeah,
whatever. And I was almost going to be like, dude.
This kid had a rifle with a scope. Now, here's where it gets weird. The first images of this rifle with a scope, I swear to God, it looks like he has a composite stock on it. Like, it looks like a modern 30-06 rifle.
Rogan's skepticism didn't end with questioning the official story. He went a step further, suggesting the possibility of a fabricated identity or a case of mistaken person, implying that the public might only be witnessing a small fragment of a much larger hidden picture. While some listeners viewed Rogan's curiosity as a fair and critical inquiry, others argued that he was unintentionally fueling conspiracy theories and public speculation. The situation took an even more dramatic turn when rumors began to circulate, rumors that extended beyond Charlie Kirk himself and targeted those closest to him, including his wife. Unverified claims hinted at a possible link between her and the unfolding controversy, adding another layer of intrigue to an already complex story. As Rogan cryptically remarked, "This is not just an isolated incident, it's a mirror of how power, media, and truth collide in our time." His statement left millions of listeners reflecting on a deeper question: do we truly know what's happening, or are we simply accepting the version of truth we're given? Buckle up, because what's about to unfold may be far more extraordinary than anyone expected.
There was that one guy who was the decoy. All right, so you got this guy who's an older guy who starts yelling out. Didn't he take his pants down? He took his pants down. This guy was at 9/11. He was at the Boston bombing.
All the hits.
He called in a fake bomb at another place, and then he did this at this thing. Right after, so somehow or another, this guy has the state of mind that the moment someone gets shot, he yells out and says, I did it, and takes his pants down or something like that. I don't know exactly what he did. Then, ready for this? He gets arrested for child porn right away.
Right after this happened?
Oh, right away. He's in jail for child porn. Why is that? Well, now you can't interview.
However, the curious timing of events has left the public with more questions than answers, despite the investigation agency's efforts to keep crucial information under wraps. The online community erupted with a flood of theories. Some suggested that the man in question may have appeared at just the right moment, while others speculated that he might have played a part in diverting public attention from the truth. Once Joe Rogan addressed the issue on his podcast, the story escalated to an entirely new level. Rogan didn't hold back his skepticism, saying, I don't think they really understand what's going on. There are so many strange things about this case. Within hours, social media was ablaze with speculation, transforming what had once seemed like a closed investigation into a labyrinth of mysteries where every small detail and every person might be part of a much larger unseen narrative. One particular element that captured Rogan's attention was the emergence of a suspiciously fake suspected individual, allegedly linked to other criminal cases. This revelation raised serious questions about the credibility and integrity of the investigation itself. Rogan argued that the supposed coincidence was far too deliberate to ignore. He also questioned the official account of the weapon allegedly involved in the case. According to reports, a man named Tyler Robinson had reportedly used a World War era firearm, said to be a memento from his grandfather. Rogan pointed out that this detail seemed oddly out of place and inconsistent with the rest of the case file, adding yet another layer of uncertainty to an already tangled story.
The narrative is that this is his grandfather's rifle from World War I and doesn't have a serial code. Okay.
Interesting.
Okay. Why? Wait. Why are you using such an old gun? That's the other thing. They said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
Rogan's tone was a mix of sarcasm and disbelief as he described the official account, so the story goes that it was an old family heirloom no serial number taken apart, reassembled, and somehow working perfectly again. That sounds like something straight out of a movie. Seriously, do you think an average person could pull that off in just a few hours? He asked, half amused and half indignant. His remarks instantly set off a storm on social media. Some users agreed with Rogan, saying that there were too many technical inconsistencies and unexplained details in the case. Others accused him of sensationalizing the story to attract attention. Regardless of the differing opinions, one thing became clear: Rogan's skepticism had reignited public curiosity and inspired a fresh wave of doubt. People began to wonder, are there deeper layers to this mystery that remain hidden from view? But Rogan wasn't the only high-profile voice to question the official version of events surrounding Charlie Kirk. Soon after, commentator Candace Owens entered the conversation with a series of explosive claims. In a bold statement, she revealed that she had obtained new information suggesting that Tyler Robinson may have been framed. Owens asserted, everything the agencies have told us about the Charlie Kirk case is not true. Her words sent shockwaves across social media, sparking renewed debate and prompting many to revisit what was previously considered a settled case. Owens claimed that during her own investigation, the name of a high-ranking politician repeatedly surfaced in unofficial reports, hinting that the incident might be part of a much larger web of influence and power. She also questioned Robinson's alleged role as the main perpetrator, highlighting two key inconsistencies in the case file: the etched bullet. Owens noted that Robinson himself seemed genuinely confused when told about an engraving supposedly found on one of the bullets. He reportedly claimed he had never even heard of such a detail, suggesting that the evidence might have been tampered with or misrepresented the origin of the weapon. While official records stated that the gun belonged to Robinson, Owens pointed out that he had no known interest in or experience with firearms. This contradiction, she argued, cast serious doubt on the reliability of the investigation's findings. Owens concluded her remarks with a cryptic question that left listeners uneasy. If all we've heard is only part of the picture, then who's covering up the rest? With that single line, Candace Owens transformed the Charlie Kirk case from a routine legal matter into a political and media labyrinth where truth and narrative seemed to blur together. Adding to the intrigue, Owens also hinted at a series of strange text messages allegedly written by Tyler Robinson, messages she described as unusual in more ways than one.
I watched my friend get shot in the neck. Yeah, that's what happened. I just want to say that he was publicly executed again before the world. The question is why, right? Why
is the query, right? She said that the tone, language, and writing did not reflect his usual manner. Robinson never used the word vehicle or any other administrative-sounding term. Owens noted, however, the sentence was there in the manuscripts that were made public, which she described as evidence of falsification or manipulation. Additionally, Owens denied that Tyler Robinson's father had counseled his son to surrender. The Robinson family had been misled. She added, in fact, Tyler was named as a suspect in the case by a close family friend. This was an outside warning rather than Tyler's own admission of guilt. Candace said, from start to finish, this story was written before the facts were known, and when anyone tried to question it, they were immediately labeled a conspiracy theorist. In order to strengthen her case, Owens reminded the audience that Charlie Kirk had apparently announced a significant internal audit at Turning Point USA only 1 week before his passing. According to her, the purpose of the audit was to provide insight into the financial situation of an enigmatic division of the company where millions of dollars were purportedly vanishing without cause. Many have questioned whether there is a covert relationship between the circumstances leading up to Kirk's murder and the date of the cover-up audit. Joe Rogan's skepticism and Allen's reservations sparked a fresh wave of hypotheses on social media right away, sparking endless debates about the forces behind the concealed reality. Whether the public is only permitted to view the tip of the iceberg and other related topics. Joe Rogan discussed a little-known piece of the Charlie Kirk event in a show, calling it extremely strange and unexplained music. An older man who was allegedly on the scene throughout the pandemonium and who seemed to be serving as bait throughout the whole situation was highlighted by a Rogan. Many witnesses were perplexed by this man's strange conduct and unsuitable response to the circumstance. According to the description, according to Rogan, the audience became even more alarmed when the man started yelling and making attention-grabbing motions. As soon as the event started, he described it as a set of actions that defy ordinary reason. Notably, according to public records, this man has already attended a number of significant and contentious events, such as the Boston Marathon and 9/11. Rogan stated that the synchronicity was too extraordinary to overlook, even if there is no concrete proof of his involvement in the events the fact that the man was detained on suspicion of engaging in unlawful online activities mere days after the Kirk incident has piqued the curiosity of the internet community. This prevented him from being questioned or responding to inquiries regarding his actions at the scene. Rogan claimed that because the arrest occurred just as the media was beginning to take notice of the figure, the timing seems strange, something is wrong, he remarked, since he was apprehended immediately after all the complaints and inquiries are being closed. His function hasn't yet been revealed to us. Millions of conversations on social media have been triggered by Rogan's insight. While some view him as embellishing a haphazard series of events, many consider him as someone who dared to ask questions while the media kept mute. Whatever your stance, is certain that the information surrounding this mysterious individual has raised fresh concerns regarding the investigations, openness, and piqued public interest in what actually transpired on that fatal day. Joe Rogan, who seemed both dubious and interested, acknowledged on his show that the entire situation is perplexing. According to him, the internet community has started looking into the background and peculiar features of the man thought to be the bait in the Charlie Kirk case. On their own, millions of listeners are still considering the questions that Rogan asked. How is it possible for one person to always be on the sidelines of so many historical events? Has this person unintentionally become entangled in the storm, or is there a more profound activity taking place behind the scenes? Some speculate that the man could be mentally ill and looking for attention, while others think he might be a purposeful actor who is trying to deceive investigators and the public. Regardless of a hypothesis, this particular detail has elevated the false suspect perspective to one of the story's most enigmatic and unsettling aspects. For many, Rogan's assertions just serve to confirm the perception that there are still a lot of gaps in the official narrative, pieces that haven't been put in place. Yet others, however, see it all as excessive conjecture that reflects the public's need for significance in an already complex situation. Then, as if the narrative wasn't enough complicated, a fresh round of rumors started to circulate. This time, the emphasis was on Charlie Kirk's wife, who is thought to have contributed in some way to the series of circumstances that resulted in this tragic tragedy. Increasingly, while these rumors were not yet backed up by concrete proof, they stoked mistrust and made it increasingly harder to tell reality from fiction. In the already hazy case, Rogan ended with a comment that got many thinking. If two new questions come up after every enigma is answered, the truth could perhaps still be concealed someplace beyond what is visible to us. Charlie Kirk's wife unexpectedly became the CEO of Turning Point USA following the circumstances that led to his resignation, a development that has sparked conjecture and inquiries on the intricate connection between her, the group, and the influential political players. Numerous remarks on social media implied that this appointment could have been prearranged rather than just a continuation of the tradition. Her quick ascent to power was made even more suspect by hints that she had dubious ties to some politicians in the TPUSA structure. This poses a significant query. Does Charlie Kirk truly want this, who has stated that he desired his wife to be his heir, or did everything happen as part of a meticulously planned scenario? More enigmatic, an internal note allegedly authored by Charlie Kirk and signed on September 2nd, a few days before to his departure, has been making the rounds online. In it, Kirk names Justin Streif as the new COO of Turning Point USA and assigns him to oversee the contentious Dog GE initiative. Sources claim that the Dog GE program was intended as a thorough internal audit to assess performance, change company culture, and monitor the movement of the enormous sums of money that TPUSA oversees. A more serious question is raised: if the document is authentic, was it a coincidence that Charlie Kirk revealed the audit only a few days before he was leaving, or was it a turning point that caused him to unintentionally touch on a far more delicate subject? The narrative takes on the appearance of a labyrinth of power and secrets, where each choice name and signature appears to have a secret significance. Charlie Kirk's retirement, which came just days after the internal document was issued, is not to be taken lightly. According to those who doubt the official version, they claim it's a crucial connection in a longer series of events rather than merely a coincidence. If so, it's possible that Kirk's Dog GE audit touched on delicate internal financial matters, money from influential political friends and high-level contributors. Some people think that the interests and reputations of individuals who operate behind the scenes may be severely harmed if the results were made public. The September 2nd memo has turned into symbolic proof for conspiracy theorists, suggesting that Kirk could have been attempting to retake control of his empire and put it back on a more open course prior to his abrupt departure. Candace Owens has frequently implied that Kirk was under a lot of financial and political pressure in his last weeks, which has only served to increase suspicion in a shocking accusation on her show. Owens said that Kirk was under pressure and threatened by billionaire financier Bill Amann because of his views on Israel. And the course of Turning Point USA, Owens claims that Kirk had continuously turned down outside pleas and offers of financial assistance which she feels had serious consequences for him. However, Billman has refuted the accusations, claiming that all of his contacts with Kirk were cordial and transparent, and that they are utterly untrue. However, the public's perception has been tainted by Owens' remarks. The idea that strong financial forces may have stepped in to stop Kirk from disclosing confidential internal information, a more significant secret that Owen claims might have put him under a great deal of pressure, has started to be discussed in online forums from that point on. The Turning Point USA case evolved from a personal tragedy to a representation of the struggle between loyalty, truth, and power, where every new question added to the story's mystique and complexity. Unverified reports have now stoked a fresh round of suspicion, with some people thinking that Charlie Kirk's widow could be more knowledgeable than she is admitting, especially in relation to internal disputes and an enigmatic audit that supposedly occurred within the company before Kirk's passing, with some social media users claiming that her behavior and emotional expression during the funeral may not have been totally real. The topic has only gotten worse. The memorial service's images and videos have gone viral, generating hundreds of conflicting opinions, while others vehemently disagreed, arguing that no one has the right to judge the sadness of people who are mourning. Others felt her tears seemed controlled naturally. There isn't any hard proof to back up these claims, but their influence has been sufficient to make matters more difficult than before. In addition to being a widow in grief, she is also at the focus of several conspiracy theories, with each one sparking a furious discussion. This is the worst step in a narrative that is already full with secrets and unsolved problems. According to many onlookers regarding the internet community, two distinct points of view are emerging. Are internet investigators wrongly blaming her, and is she falling prey to a widespread suspicion hysteria? Or behind that serene exterior, is there anything more profound, a component of the riddle that no one has yet to dare discuss? Regardless of the response, one thing is for sure: there is much more to this occurrence than just a personal sorrow. It now serves as a mirror of contemporary society, where opinions, realities, and human feelings are continuously put to the test. In an information-rich and skeptical environment, the public is becoming less convinced that the official story is consistent, because, as Joe Rogan and Candace Owens have noted, the circumstances leading up to the Charlie Kirk incident seem to include a number of unexplainable contradictions. How someone could reportedly enter the top of a building that is closely watched on the Utah Valley University campus, particularly during such a large-scale and media-driven event, without being detected, is one of the points being raised. If that occurred, why weren't security guards stationed in a better location to keep an eye on things or intercept them? Authorities' early remarks indicate that the perpetrator is thought to have carried out the crime from the roof before fleeing the area, but rather than providing answers, a set of films that have been making the rounds on social media have created more questions. Some films are chopped or lack continuity, making it hard for viewers to understand what really happened, while others depict the motions of a person on the roof that do not correspond with the description in the original report. Many people think that the incident may be more complex than is currently being made public because of the discrepancy between official testimony and visual evidence. In addition to being a narrative of a horrific occurrence, this serves as a lesson to onlookers of the value of openness, questioning, and searching for the truth within the deluge of information surrounding the catastrophe. Once more, the primary question is still unresolved. Are these disparate fragments the product of disorder or evidence of a more complex narrative that someone is attempting to conceal? After a guy disguised himself, took responsibility, and was detained on unrelated charges, the suspicions around the incident grew more complex and challenging to explain. The public began to speculate that someone was purposefully attempting to divert attention from the incident's actual origin. As a result of this odd development, as the inquiry progressed, social media turned into a battlefield of opposing viewpoints. People on other platforms started assembling stolen information, outdated images, and remove postings to construct their own hypotheses. Every individual provided a unique account of the events, which added to the story's ambiguity and complexity. Unusual components started to accumulate, from the weapon's provenance to the dubious identification of the guy in disguise to the internal TPUSA memos. Odd timing. Because of all of this, many people now think that the sequence of events is maybe a clever design rather than just random. A large portion of the public now views the Charlie Kirk case as a network of power, knowledge, and concealed truth. rather than as a singular episode. People's confidence in official reporting is further damaged by each contradicting information, which makes them question if there is more to be concealed, and one thing is now obvious regardless of the actual cause. In addition to a sad event, this novel explores the power of skepticism, the media's impact, and the battle to dominate the narrative. The most crucial lesson could be to stay vigilant in a society where information spreads more quickly than the truth. Ask questions, pay attention, and resist the urge to trust any one version of a flawlessly stated tale. What are your thoughts on all of this? Then post your thoughts in the comments section below to ensure you don't miss any updates in the next mystery investigation series. Remember to click the subscribe button. There are always two sides to the truth. See you in the next video. This anecdote serves as a reminder that we should develop critical thinking skills and double-check facts before believing anything we read or hear online. In a time where false information spreads more quickly than the truth, education should teach students how to think critically, ask questions, and control their emotions.